You're so delicious. You're like spaghetti. It's the Married with Channels podcast. We're back.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for the break.
So I'll post pictures on our Twitter account of the before and after of why we've essentially been away for a month.
Some home project DIY. Spoiler alert, home project DIY.
We'll just say this. When you have like no help for like childcare and no relatives, and one of us works full time, the other works part time, there's not a lot of time to do the podcast. It's like, hey, let's do podcasts. I'm tired. Or free time, let's go work on the project.
It was all the free time, go work on this construction project. And then like when you're done with that, you're so sore and tired.
Yeah.
I mean,
because it's physical labor.
It is manual physical labor. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much start to finish the job, which is essentially we're putting in a paver walkway around our new front stoop.
Yes.
We should have probably hired that part out too.
Absolutely.
We paid for the new front stoop, and we're like, oh, no, we can save a couple grand and do this ourselves. Yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah.
We talk like we're in the 40s.
No.
And
just you.
and there was so we decided to do it ourselves, and boy, it took a while. But
like a whole month of our lives, every spare moment that we had pretty much working on that. So yeah, that's where we've been. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, that's where we've been.
But
no sickness this time. Remember the last spell that we were gone?
Yeah.
It was about sickness. Now it's about home improvement.
You better knock on some wood that
right?
Nobody gets, any kind of weird thing now.
But I'll post a before and after pic on the Twitter. As you're hearing this, it's going to be up. So that's, I think it came out great. I think we did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, it's still not quite like polished done for me. Like I need to finish the landscaping and make it pretty. But anyway, that explains our absence. It was hard work.
But if you want to test like the limits of a marriage, you do a home project that involves both of you and manual labor. That will cement just how dedicated you are to your spouse.
And, there's always like math and kind of science involved in this kind of stuff. And you're like, I did the math. Why is this not working out? And, are you sure you got that part right? Are we sure we did this right? Like every step of the way, because we've never done a project like this before. And
the funny thing is it took us about a month, and that's a lot of stop, start, and then here's a curveball type of thing. Or, we got to go to the store and get this. A pro would have had that done probably in 2 days.
Probably.
Maybe 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably easily. Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? That's worth it. That's worth $2,000. It's done.
It is now, yes.
It's done. It's probably done right because, our insecurities are like, whoa, is this going to last through winter? But anyway, it's done. Like, Jody said, there's a couple of little I's being dotted, T's being crossed to finish it up completely, but
yeah,
the bulk of it's done. That's why we've been away. So there's that explanation.
And we only fought 3 times.
I don't know if it's 3, maybe a couple.
Yeah, okay. 2 to 3 times. But...
wild, passionate kissing.
Oh, my.
Darling. Now we're back talking about movies and TV shows. We're talking about a couple finales today.
Yeah, we did have time to watch TV in our soreness on the couch with our ice packs and whatnot.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we found some time to watch TV to recover.
We'll talk about the Ted Lasso finale here in a little bit. But first, let's talk about Barry.
Yeah.
That ended.
All done.
The series has ended, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And you liked Barry. Correct me if I'm wrong. You liked it, but it wasn't like a really hot show for you. Right? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I liked it. I don't know. Sometimes it got a little on the ridiculous side for me, like a little bit too far.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Barry a lot. I like those shows that blend and do it well. They blend kind of the darker stuff with some comedic notes. There's definitely some funny moments there.
Yep.
One that comes to mind was the rocket launcher that they NoHo Hanks blasted towards the mansion. And just that whole scene was funny.
That was kind of funny.
But if you think about it, it's dark because they're trying to blow up a mansion filled with 10, 12 people in it.
Yeah. Like a rival gang kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah,
it's, but it's, I like Barry. I enjoyed the ride. It was an interesting story and characters.
Yeah.
And some choices that I thought were interesting, like some one takes here and there. Like the one that comes to mind, you remember it was like, I think it was last season. It was Barry he was in a suit and he was on a dirt bike.
Okay.
And he was trying to get away from the biker gang, the dirt bike biker gang.
Yep.
That's the sister of one of the dudes he killed.
Yes.
But that was all like one take, and it was just so interesting and different. And it had some comedic notes to it.
Yeah.
But the season ended with kind of where you thought it should.
Before we go there, can I say something that I liked? I liked every week when they'd show like coming up on the next episode of Barry. The teaser, and it was just like the most mundane, plain vanilla thing. Like it doesn't give you any insight. It was great. It was like, I love these. They're so funny to me. It
was kind of funny, but not annoying. Remember Mad Men?
Yes.
Their teasers were so frustrating.
Yes.
Because they had clips where there was no context.
Right.
You know? And
they didn't
were
give you
quick.
any clues at all.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you had no idea what the fuck. Why is he talking about we need to go sell the car? You know, It's like, but this is more like literally like an over the shoulder shot looking out the front of a car while two people are sitting driving. And then 10 seconds done.
And you can't tell who the two people are or where they're going or what they're doing. It's just, that's it. It's great.
It just kind of struck me as like, it seems like HBO is like, you got to do a teaser.
Right.
Like that's part of doing a show on HBO is you got to have a teaser for the next week's episode. And they're like, okay.
All right, here you go.
And like one of the beauties and interesting things about that show is the teaser. But so the show came to a close and it ended, I think, the way it had to end. Like Barry had to die because he was inherently a bad guy.
Huh.
He's a hitman.
Sure.
Who killed for money.
Sure.
And it's not like he had any kind of, he had qualms about what he did sometimes.
Yeah.
But mostly it was about, it seemed like his inner struggle was mostly about like, what's my direction in life? What's my life going to?
Sure.
Not about, oh my God, I'm killing people.
Right. I'm hurting families or whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. I saw it more like as a struggle of like, I've done these bad things, but I'm trying to be a good person now, you know, and he kind of wrestled with that throughout the whole show.
I didn't get that. I didn't get him trying to be a better person.
Well, he was trying to like improve himself by, you know, kind of going to the acting career, trying to do that and not be a hitman for hire. And then, you know, just trying to kind of be a good person and do the right thing. But like things get messy and he still has to do the things that he has to do to survive, you know? So.
Yeah, I get it. I took it more as he is just kind of like, what's the best thing for me? I didn't get a sense that Barry's really like feeling bad about his choices and what he did. Yeah. You know, his direction as being a hitman.
Sure.
It almost just seemed like he was like, well, that's part of my past. And I want to be married to Sally and have this kid now in the middle of the, you know.
Yeah.
Dust
Texas.
Bowl, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
But it didn't seem like he ultimately was like, I think it's easy to mistake a kind of clueless kind of, not buffoon, but kind of not sure of what he's doing and where he's going as like innocence and, you know, a good person. Like, I think the character of Barry ultimately is a bad person.
Okay.
And he got what he should have gotten in the end.
Okay.
And ultimately, and I have another theory about Barry, the
All
show.
right.
Here's the scene where Barry gets killed in the end. He comes to Cousineau's house. He's looking for Sally and his son, John. And I forget where Cousineau's like in a back room or something, but he encounters Cousineau's agent, who convinces him he needs to turn himself in. And then, boom.
You should call the cops. The cops? I'm gonna turn myself in.
Gets shot in the shoulder. Sits down, realizes, I just got shot. Kuzno comes in.
Oh, wow.
Boom, headshot.
Oh, wow.
Barry's dead. Oh, wow. That's another kind of quirky thing about the show.
Kind of funny.
Oh, wow. You know, normally it's like, oh my God, Mr. Kuzno, no. Boom. You know,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, like he didn't see that coming, maybe. He didn't think he had it in him, maybe.
Also, a theory I just thought of the other day with Barry.
Mm-hmm.
This almost seems like it's a show more about Sally.
I disagree.
Well, you think about it, like she's there from the beginning in the acting class. We see her evolve
Sure.
from this insecure, abused woman. She has this arc of a storyline where she, you know, goes through acting class, gets a couple decent gigs, ultimately gets her own show, successful show. It all comes apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's kind of stuck with this guy who's a murdering asshole, has a kid with him. And then eventually, in the end, she's redeemed. And even the big telling sign was at the end, Barry's dead. It's like 3 years later or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming out of the kids' play.
Yeah.
And the one teacher's like, hey, you want to get a drink sometime? She's
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah.
And then she goes to the car.
Sure.
I think it's more of an it's not necessarily about Sally, but I think it's an interesting story that uses Barry to tell Sally's story.
Well, and also, I mean, I guess you could make that case with all the other characters too, like Kusino's character.
Mhm.
You know, he has kind of like that whole interesting, you know, arc with his son and that relationship. And then,
Mhm.
you know, even Fuchs as a person and NoHo Hank, it kind of tells all of the supporting cast stories through Barry and their interactions with him. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of all the same there with all of those for me.
Like Barry's
Yeah.
the delivery device for all these
Yeah.
different characters and their stories.
Yep.
And that's, you know, I'm glad you brought that up. That's like why TV shows like this are so good. Like you couldn't have this in a movie.
Right.
If you had a 2-hour movie about Barry, the hitman who goes to acting
Yeah.
school, you would maybe get 2 of those characters really kind of
Yeah.
stories,
Sure.
you know, deep, in-depth, chewing on
Yep.
type of, you know, information about them.
Yep.
But like you just pointed out, you know, we got good arcs
Yeah.
and
All
stories
around,
with
yeah.
about at least 4 or 5 characters.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, that's kind of another reason why Barry, I think, was so good. And I think it's definitely worth, I might rewatch it from the start.
Sure.
Might
Yeah,
be a
because
good-
there's stuff like I forgot about, like with the whole like, you know, NoHo Hank's gang and stuff like that. There's stuff I forgot about. Even when you mentioned the motorcycle chase, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Remember it ended at a car dealership
Yeah.
and they had this wide shot and you could see the dirt bike gang member on top of the car dealership. And somebody comes out of the car dealership with a shotgun, shoots him. We're still in that same wide shot. The person gets up, they shoot him again. It's just surreal
Yes.
and different and very interesting visually and,
Yeah.
you know, plot wise.
Yep.
But
I think it's a good show. You know, like I said, sometimes it kind of ventured into a little bit of ridiculousness, you know, like
yeah, they got a little out there at times.
a little bit, like the killing all those men in the sand pit thing. Like what? Like it's just so weird and dark in a horrible way for these people to die. Okay, I don't know.
You got to admit, you've never seen that before.
Nope, never. I mean,
Like to me, if you're going to take a wild stab out there,
yeah,
go for it.
I guess so.
Go do something
Yeah,
people have never
crazy.
seen before. You
yeah.
know? Like if they mentioned that off camera, like if they said, "Oh, those guys died. They drowned him in the sand tank."
Sure.
It'd be like,
Uh-huh.
you know, I want to see that. But yeah, Barry's over. Great show. I don't know. Bill Hader's great.
Yeah.
Like he's good, funny. He's good, dramatic.
Yeah.
He can do like any voice.
Sure.
And he directed a lot of these episodes.
Yep.
You could tell the influences as he's directing, like Hitchcock definitely. You know, there's some other directors that come to mind that I think he's probably, you know, had some influence from. Any other thoughts on Barry Jody? Barry Jody moves?
Nope. It was good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Moving on to Ted Lasso and its finale.
Yeah.
Now, as we record this, I still don't know if Ted Lasso is done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they said this was like the series finale.
Right. I thought this was it.
Yeah, but then there's been no like. The producers and actors have been real coy about it. They've not said, "Oh, it was a great run, and I'm looking forward to the next project." You know, nothing like that. And I don't know if that's intentional, but the feeling I get,
sure.
Still not. Yeah, the feeling I get is they're going to continue it with a lot of the same cast, maybe a different name.
Maybe like a spin-off kind of, but without Ted.
Yeah, like if they called it Believe.
Oh,
that would make sense.
Sure.
Or the Greyhounds. Or
does it work without Ted Lasso? Does it hold up for you?
I think so.
Okay.
I said this to you the other day.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso is probably the least interesting character on that show for me.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think Ted Lasso is probably a good glue for the other characters.
Yeah.
I think though. I think they've set the foundation.
Sure.
The characters are there. We know the characters. You can move forward with them.
Sure.
You can do it without Ted Lasso, I think.
Yeah. I think that might be kind of, it kind of lends itself to what kind of the show is all about. Like, Ted Lasso is kind of the underdog. He comes in, no one expects him to do well. He kind of brings everybody up, elevates everyone, including the team and himself and everyone around him. And now, his departure kind of paves the way for them to kind of continue that on their own, with his influence and, what would Ted do? Kind of questioning for characters. But I think that they probably would stand on their own as well in like a spin-off kind of situation.
I definitely think so. I mean, I think you have great chemistry with Rebecca.
Yeah.
Keeley.
Yeah.
Who's the player personnel director guy with the glasses? Coach Beard. You got Roy Kent. You got Nate, and the players on the team. There's some good people there. You could probably rotate some people in and out if you have to, and of course you'd have a little Ted Lasso on FaceTime guest appearance now and then.
It's Higgins.
Higgins, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Ted Lasso as a show can move on and be just fine without the Ted Lasso character.
Sure. Yeah.
There's some shows where you take out the lead character and I don't know if it'll fly.
Sure. I think sometimes and this is probably unpopular opinion, but sometimes I got tired of Ted Lasso and the shtick and the hokey little things and
agreed.
okay, that's enough
my
of
mom
that.
used to say the Kansas Rock is screaming,
Yes, sometimes that was a bit much for me every time, but
speaking of a bit much, this past season, the final season, whatever, it got a lot of flack. Like a lot of critics are poo-pooing on it. A lot of fans were not happy with it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this past / final season of Ted Lasso?
It wasn't the best for me either. I think that the other seasons were better. This wasn't the best. I think though, the finale was really sweet and good. And, how they ended it was really sweet and good for everybody. It kind of all worked out the way that you wanted it to for almost every kind of side character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's play a little piece from that finale. This is Ted Lasso and Coach Beard. They're on the plane about to fly back to America, and Coach Beard has second thoughts.
I can't do this. I don't want to go, Ted. I'm in love with Jane. I want to stay, and I don't want to let you down. But with your permission, I'd love to run off this plane and into her arms. I mean, what about your luggage? Forget my luggage. It's full of rice. What? Why?
I haven't slept for 3 days, man.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I've been dreading this. Talking to you, abandoning you.
What? No. Hold on, Coach. You ain't abandoning me, okay? You're just following your heart. I get it. And yeah, you should go.
And Coach Beard makes this big fake like panic attack thing, yeah, and gets escorted off the plane, yeah. And then the episode ends with they show Roy Kent, Coach Beard, Nate kind of together looking at the Believe sign, I think.
I believe so.
And then
see what I did there.
yeah, and Ted Lasso coaching his kids' soccer team, and all is well.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah, no, it ended very nicely. As far as my thoughts on this past season and whether or not it was bad, as people say, I don't think it was. I think it was just a little inconsistent. I think there was some. They went off on a lot of, like, every episode. First of all, was too long.
Yeah.
Each episode was like 50, almost an hour.
Sure.
And they did a lot of character work with side characters that I don't know was necessary. And they didn't pay off certain things. Like, remember the end of this was season 3. Season 2, it ended with Nate making the big bad turn.
Sure.
You know, he's the new coach and he turns around, he's got that evil look and his arms are crossed, and then boom, credits.
Yeah.
That never really panned out this season, you know? And
but
I'm
it
not saying
kind of did.
Well, it only did the first episode when they had that press conference and Nate kind of shit on Ted Lasso, and Ted Lasso took the high road and didn't fight back. He just said, well, whatever.
Right. You know? But Nate's character kind of did a 180 in this season because he was all in. He was all about the job at West Ham, the money, the perks that it got him. And then, you know, he kind of quickly realizes that that's not what he wants. And that's not what's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So there's kind of that.
I know, but I needed more. I wanted to see more Ted Lasso Nate friction.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the whole season need to be built on that.
But he's not he's not that guy, though. Nate truly is not that guy, you know?
I guess.
Like, in kind of how Rupert was kind of the instigator of all the conflict, you know, kind of the big baddie. Nate's not really that guy. So I don't think you were ever going to get that from him.
I know. I guess maybe the producers just kind of did a misdirect on us, you know.
Maybe.
They ended season 2 with, Nate's the new bad guy.
Yeah, kind of.
But as far as this season, I just feel like the episodes were too long, and I thought they did too much. Like the Keeley thing with Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know what that added to anything.
Sure.
I don't know if that really showed us anything new about Keeley. Obviously, that can fall in love with a woman, which I don't know if it's that interesting.
No, I didn't really get what that did for her character either. I mean, other than, you know, she kind of reached her dream life and then it all kind of came crashing down and she had to rebuild it back again by herself, you know, for herself. I don't know. And
speaking of that Jack character, you know, they were madly in love.
Yeah.
And Jack seemed, by all accounts, a very supportive, empathetic person who understood, you know, the human side of things. And I forget what it was, but there was some moment that kind of turned their relationship.
Yeah.
And it just didn't fit with Jack. Now, granted, we've only known Jack for, at that point, 2 episodes.
I don't know. Jack kind of like...
But she
seemed to appear all of those things that you said, but then, like... She also got really kind of weird in that relationship. Like, I don't want to say possessive or controlling, but a little bit. And there was like some, you remember they talked about love bombing and stuff. You know, just maybe not the person that you thought she was, you know, and that became more and more apparent, you know, especially when Keeley was going through a hard time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the whole Jack storyline with Keeley, you can get rid of that. Yeah. And I don't think you'd lose anything on the season. But overall, I thought the season was fine. You know, it still had the good vibes. You know, that's kind of what you want from Ted Lasso. Like the story I hear over and over with Ted Lasso's, it was a show that came at the right time.
Sure.
Because it was in the middle of the pandemic and people were at each other's throats. And here's this show that's all about like
sweet,
super positive and
heartwarming and
you know, and it was perfect. And I think it still is a pretty good show. I think it's just now people are able to kind of sit back and really dig into it
Sure.
and not just take it for face value. And there's some issues with writing and producing on this season.
I think you can't think too hard about it. You know, like
But that's kinda what I'm
it is
getting
what
at.
it is. Like
That's
you
kinda what
know, this is not a piece to, you know, really sink your teeth into and overanalyze too much.
I know. That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
is for me, this season is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not overly thinking this.
Sure.
Yeah, there's some stuff. It's like the main thing is the episodes were too long.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is what it is. It's a show that has a lot of good vibes and
Yeah.
some funny little quips. Okay. And interesting characters.
Sure.
But I think that's why you're seeing a lot of critical kind of slaps against it this
Sure.
season. I think people are now like,
but people want to complain about everything. It's like just take it for what it is. It's Ted Lasso, for crying out loud.
look at that mustache.
Lighten up.
Look at that mustache. What are you doing? Let it go.
Believe, okay? Just believe.
Homespun quips and a mustache.
I mean,
What more do you need?
barbecue sauce.
Right? Let's end it there, woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Married with Channels is back. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll have to do this more often.
When this publishes, it will shake the podcast sphere.
Sweet.
All the podcast providers be like, what was that rumble? They'll go into their analytics like, oh, Married with Channels is back.
That's right.
I don't know why I did that voice.
Monetize it.
Right? Yeah, send us your money if you want to advertise.
Just saying. Share, tell your friends. That helps us out.
Absolutely.
Help support this podcast.
Go to the Twitter to see the picture of our before and after on the project that took us
Oh my
all
gosh.
of our time and time away from this podcast.
And please don't be one of those people that has to comment on what looks wrong with it. We already know.
Yeah, we were way ahead of you on that.
Yeah.
Until next time, very soon, sooner than later, it's the Married with Channels podcast. Oh, the Twitter, by the way, is at Married W Chans with 2 N's. Until next time, I'm Moose.
I'm Jody.
We'll see ya.
Bye.